Hey guys, Big Red 310s here again, back to give another vid on just an assortment of topics really, mainly to talk about these two things. Woo! And woo! And even this. Woo! All right, this is gonna be mainly a Chikara and Goldust, I guess, video. Sorry about the quality of my last video. I don't know what the hell happened. It was just terrible. And now, of course, if you look at this video, the quality's perfect. So I can't really explain. I guess it really just depends on a shoddy laptop. What can I tell you? All right. Yeah. Basically, I just want to talk about these two Chikara shows. Their Anniversario weekend. Anniversario and his amazing friends, and the legendary Superpowers show. Now, before I get into this, let me say one thing. Chikara's Anniversary weekend is usually very notable. Back in 2008, they had a very good weekend. I've yet to see both shows, but everyone tells me those are two of the best shows in Chikara history, and they did a lot for the promotion, and yada, yada, yada. Anniversario Yang, many considered to be, before King of Trios this year, the best show in Chikara history. I've seen that show. That show is amazing. And, so the Anniversario shows are usually very, notable. Last year's were not. Last year's, I was very, very disappointed with the Anniversario weekend. Anniversario Zen was bad, like the second worst Chikara show of the year behind Young Lions Cup 8-9 Night 1. And the other Anniversario show was good, but barely good, and that is not acceptable for the Anniversario show, one of their biggest shows of the year. I go see my video on that. I protested. I think I gave that show a 7, partly because the main event was Tommy Dreamer versus Eddie Kingston, and I understand why it was, but totally disagreed with it. However, I will say, this weekend, they did a pretty damn good job, especially with Night 1. Night 1 is one of the best Night 1 Chikara shows I've ever seen, because I can't even say Friday shows, because I believe Night 1 shows are on a Saturday. But usually the first show in a Chikara double shot isn't that notable. Usually, most of the time it's a good show, but it's never anything great. This show was great and definitely notable. Definitely great performance on this show. This show underdelivered, but it was still really, really good. The undercard is really, really solid. So yeah, I thought Chikara did a lot better this weekend with Anniversario. Also, I want to say that about storylines, self-contained storylines. Many people's main problem with Chikara, it's not my main problem. I have another problem that I won't get to in this video. But many people's main problem with Chikara is, if you haven't been following the promotion for years, it's impossible to be up to date with what's going on, because all their storylines have so much of a back history to it. They've gotten a lot better with that. The Spectral Envoy versus Bodhi, Sinn, Bodhi, and Batiri, which was a storyline started this year. But that's not fair to say you don't know the back history, you can't follow it, because in Ring of Honor, if you started watching a House of Truth versus El Generico match, that feud has been building up the whole year as well. Knowing the back history helps in that sort of a situation. And I do agree, Chikara should do a better job of video packages. One of my favorite, that's why I loved, what was that show? The first show of the year, Chaos in the Sea of Lost Souls. For every match that had a backstory to it, Chikara put out a very good video package beforehand. And I do think they need to do more of them, because there are a bunch of storylines that you should know in order to appreciate the matches better. However, the storylines are getting a lot better as far as self-contained. None of the storylines really stretch back years and years. They've done a lot better job with that. I mean, I guess the BDK, but like I said, that's almost a theme by this point. If you start watching WCW 98 and you don't know what the NWO is, well, learn. I'm sorry. There's no other way to do it. Learn. You have to know that, because it's almost the theme of the promotion. Same with the BDK. But as far as other storylines, like the Unstable 3.0 storyline, the Spectral Envoy, Batiri storyline, Vin Gerard's character build throughout the year, the Archibald Peck character build throughout the year, that stuff all started this year. So besides that, Delirious having to take off his Delirious coming back with Hallowicked, which that has been going on for 4 years. Besides that, really everything is more self-contained, and the promotion's gotten a lot better with that, and I'm very proud of them for doing that, because newer fans, it's very hard. Back in 2009, it was very hard for a new fan to get into Chikara, because you needed to know all this back history on most of the matches. Now, really not so much. I mean, if you've been watching for years, there's certain hidden subtleties that you will notice, but other fans won't. But you don't need to know it in order to better appreciate the match. like, that's great. I think Chikara's doing that a lot more, where they put stuff where people who watch it for a long time can appreciate because they've been following the stories for a long time, but they don't have to know it to understand what's going on. It's just like something like, wow, that's really cool because, back in 2003 they did this, stuff like that. So yeah, let's get into the shows. Aniversario and his amazing friends. This show was great. Like I said, this was possibly the best first taping and a double taping show I've ever seen from Chikara. Maybe there was a show back in 07 or 06, but I've never seen a better first show double taping than this. Actually, Dark Cybernetico was really good too, but I like this more because this had a better consistent card. Definitely really good stuff. Here, where's my phone? I wrote all the star ratings on my phone. But if I remember correctly, the first match was... Apparently, it was not Dasher Hatfield versus... Okay, I need to get my phone. And yes, I'm not stopping the video either. Alright. Because I didn't want to open up a document on my laptop, even though I probably should have done that. I don't know, it was late at night, I was tired. Alright, so we started off the night with Hieracon versus Brodie Lee. This was a fun squash match. It was a bit of an extended squash, so it wasn't like a bad match. It was a fine match. It just went a little longer than a normal squash. And it's one of those matches where I don't like to spoil finishes for Chikara, but I'm going to do it here. Brodie Lee won. It would make sense for him to lose. It wouldn't make sense for him to lose going into the 12 large summit. But yeah, he won. But it was the type of match where he won, but it was like Hieracon made a comeback, and by the end of the match, you kind of get the feeling Hieracon, Brodie just had an unfair size advantage. Had you both been the same size, you probably would have won. But because Brodie Lee had the unfair size advantage, that's why he won. So don't feel bad. It was that type of match where the challenger looks good. The loser looks good in the match, and he looks like he can hang. So that was a fine match. Frightmare versus Archibald Peck. Nothing to say. It was just a good match. I really enjoyed it. I'm liking Archibald Peck a lot more. Throwbacks versus the Batiri. I did not like this match that much. And I love Sugar Dunkerton and Dash Hatfield. They're my favorite tag team in Chikara. But this match was it was short. And it was also kind of a squash. They did some comedy at the beginning, and then they had a match. The Batiri worked over the Throwbacks. They were building to a hot tag. Dunkerton was going for it, but Batiri pulled him aside, and then Batiri just hit his finisher and it was over. And like the finish got like no reaction besides like a shot reaction. Like, what? It's over? I mean, I don't see the point in that. He was basically dominating them the whole match, and then they just won. I mean, I guess the Batiri are in the second most important storyline in Chikara right now, but behind probably Eddie Kingston versus Claudio. But yeah, like I said, it was all right, but there wasn't much of a match to it, so 2 stars. Eddie Kingston, Ultramantis back versus Chuck Taylor. This match started off really funny. Chuck Taylor, I loved seeing him back in Chikara. He had a great weekend. Eventually, this match got into the kids' playground next to the arena, which was hilarious. I'm not going to ruin any of the comedy in this match. They got back into the ring, and it was a good match. I enjoyed it. Eddie Kingston versus Sinn Bodhi. Before the match, Sinn Bodhi cut a very heartfelt promo, apologizing for his Larry Sweeney comments. For those who do not know, Eddie Kingston, the King of Trios, called himself the bipolar birthday clown, and then he shook up his tie like that. And a lot of fans were very upset because obviously Larry Sweeney died and he had bipolar disease and he committed suicide, and by putting his tie up his neck, many thought of it as choking someone with a noose. So he got a lot of heat for it by the office and the fans, and he cut out immediately in this match and cut a very heartfelt promo, basically going out. He said, okay, I'm going to go out of character for a bit. He apologized. He really feels horrible about it. He will admit he didn't know much about Larry Sweeney, but he knew he had died and he knew how important it was to the locker room, so that's why he did not show up for the Larry Sweeney Remembrance 10-bell salute at the start of King of Trios. He apologized. He said one of his best friends, Sean McGrath, Sean Osborne, his wrestling name, I believe, or the Blind Seed, he died. He committed suicide, and it gets to him to this day, so he totally understands, and he really, really apologizes. He puts over Chikara. He puts over the fans. It was a very heartfelt moment, and then he said, and I love this, what Chikara did, they basically mixed kayfabe into real life. He said, I've been told that my match with Eddie Kingston is my punishment for my comments because he is the hardest hitting guy they have. And come out, Eddie, I'm ready to be punished. Like, they kind of mixed the fact that it was storyline. They made his shoot interview part of the storyline, which I thought was really cool. And so Eddie Kingston and him came out. They had an interesting match, not much to it, very short. You can pretty much expect how it went. Then we got the second best match of the night, the Colony Madison Eagles versus the BDK. This was really, really good. Great action by the Colony, and then eventually it almost became Dragon Gate style, where they were doing a bunch of finishes in the ring. One guy gets out, another guy gets in, finish, another guy gets in, finish. But I was into every near fall. So it might have went a little bit overboard, and Chikara never does that, so I can excuse them for it. But I was into every near fall, so I guess I can't say they went overboard. Just from an aesthetical point of view, when you look back on it, you think that was a lot of moves. But still, it was a great match. Almost great. Really, really good. I like the finish a lot, too. Hallowicked versus Mike Quackenbush. Match of the night, match of the weekend. Great, great match between these two guys. This was like a friendly rivalry type match, as Double Cross King put it. They had great technical wrestling, and the finishing sequence was tremendous. I love this finishing sequence. I was really into this match. Mike Quackenbush, for those who do not know, is my second favorite wrestler behind Bryan Danielson. I was really into everything these guys were doing. I loved the near falls. The finish, like I said, the finishing sequence was just tremendous. I was into it one bit, and the crowd popped big and gave them a nice standing ovation at the end. Great match, great technical wrestling. Love this match, 4 stars. 3.0 versus Unstable. Now, I will say, this feud started off like a comedy feud. 3.0 called the Unstable boring. They had a comedy match with them, and then the next show they like took the Unstable's gear, which was pretty funny. They came out in the Unstable's clothing, but this wasn't really a serious feud until the New York show, and a lot of people don't know what happened, so I'll kind of explain it here. Basically, Vin Gerard came out, and he was hitting on Shane Matthews' girlfriend, and Shane Matthews came out pissed, and he just punched Vin Gerard right in the face, and he left. And yeah, that my only problem with this feud was that happened, and then this is the blow off. And there should have been a video package definitely before this match because they had enough content to tell that story. So I thought there should have been a video package, but they did. And also, like I said, they didn't really explain it that well. I mean, I know because I'm a diehard Chikara fan and I read the blogs. Not everybody reads the blogs, but you should because the blogs are important to storylines, and I do agree that's a bad thing. You shouldn't have to read the blogs to fully understand the storylines. But I do read them, so I understood what was going on. And there were a few blogs, building up to this match. But like I said, they should have explained it in the DVD. This was a grudge match. This was the blow-off. This did main event the show. But yeah, they introduced the girlfriend throughout the match. And you heard her cheering for Shane. So obviously, and the commentators explained it, I guess. They explained it well. But still, like, you wouldn't have known that before this match. So, yeah. But the match was really good. I really enjoyed it. They had a lot of good action. And the end was pretty good. They had a lot of good near falls. They ended the feud pretty well. I would give it 3 3/4. I almost want to, but I don't know. Something's just preventing me from giving it 3 3/4. I don't know. I like how they blew off the feud though. Maybe because they should have done a better job, like building up this match. But whatever. So yeah, 8 out of 10. Great show. You have a great match. You have 2 really really good matches and a pretty good undercard. There's a good match between Peck and Frightmare. A funny as shit match between Ultramantis and Chuck Taylor. A really fun squash match. I even liked the Eddie Kingston Bodhi match, and the Sinn Bodhi promo is probably the second best thing on this whole show behind the Hallowicked Mike Quackenbush match because that promo really adds a lot to the rating. The only thing I really didn't like was the Throwbacks match, but yeah, great show. Recommended by me. Aniversario and his amazing friends. Pick it up. Next we get Aniversario, the legendary superpower shows. This show was really good, but not as good as Night 1, which is a problem in and of itself. I hate it. I hate it when any indie wrestling promotion does this. And this could have been better. And I'll explain why. Because this show, up until the main event, was on its way to being one of the best Chikara shows of the year. And then the main event kind of hurt it. Dasher Hatfield versus Jakob Hammermeier. I hate the BDK. Well, I love the storyline, but I hate the BDK. You'll understand. If you're a diehard Chikara fan like myself, like Nightmare Baller 1, like Emerald Flosion, we get so much, even though it's kayfabe and we know it's fake, it's one of those things where Chikara makes us become fans again. And we can really, hope that the BDK loses, even if it makes no sense. And Claudio Castagnoli, oh my God, whenever he's in the ring, I don't know what it is. I just really badly want to see him get pinned, really badly. Like in his match with 3.0. That match was only 8 minutes long. I guess I'll start off with that match. That match was only 8 minutes long, but it got 3 1/4 stars because I was so into everything. And oh my God, the finishing sequence, I was just like, come on, come on. It was like at 1 o'clock in the morning when I saw this match, and I was just cheering the whole time. I was like, kick out, come on, what the hell, come on. I was just cheering the whole time. And I really badly just wanted Claudio to lose. And then I won't spoil the finish, but it was a good finish, and this was a very good match. 3 1/4. The opener. Now, even though I hate the BDK and kayfabe, I love Jakob Hammermeier. I can't deny that. I think I tweeted his entire like intro. Zadaya respect Vita. Woo! Zadaya respect! At des Ring in Nami der Bruderschaft des Crisis, the dashing Jakob Hammermeier. And then he puts the microphone down, like sprints, like runs frantically to the entranceway, and then he comes out for his entrance. It's amazing. It's one of the greatest. It's probably the greatest announcement in wrestling. Better than Ricardo Rodriguez for Alberto Del Rio. It's tremendous. And I love Jakob Hammermeier. He and Datcher had a fun match. You know, there was a really, really funny spot that I don't want to ruin. It was just, the whole thing was just hilarious. I liked the finish. You know, I thought Lince Dorado got fired. Why is up to debate. I believe the rumor where people say that he appeared in a Scott Hall video en masse, and Mike Quackenbush hates it when people when people break kayfabe. But I think that is why we're seeing Jakob playing a more prominent role. I mean, I saw it coming anyways, but now especially since Lince got fired, they're really trying to make Jakob into a settled wrestler for Chikara because they need him in the BDK. However, I felt that he kept winning his matches it was almost too unfair in a way. It was like, you want us to take this guy like an active member of your roster, but he doesn't wrestle. Like, he's like Michael Cole. Everybody interferes for him, and then he just gets the win. That's how he's been winning. And I thought he probably still shouldn't be beating people clean yet, but his finishes shouldn't be as heel. They should be like just someone distracts the ref, he hits a finish, it's over. Stuff like that. And I won't say whether or not this match followed it, but I was satisfied with the ending to this match, definitely. They're making Jakob look more like, I mean, yeah, he's still a very funny guy, and he's still a comedy figure, but you should still somewhat take him seriously in wrestling matches. Grizzly Redwood Hieracon, this match was alright. Again, Grizzly Redwood dominated most of it. Hieracon made a quick comeback, and Redwood immediately beat him. This part I didn't like. I mean, it's clearly building, I think, to an Osirian Portal Roughnecks feud or something. But with the Hieracon Brodie Lee match, it was like, you know what? You got squashed, but you had an unfair size advantage. With Grizzly Redwood, it was like, he's your same size, and you still lost. And yes, I ruined it. He got lost. I hate ruining finishes. But that part I didn't really like. But I still gave it 2.25. Well, I'm not saying Hieracon should have gone over. He shouldn't have, probably. But he still should have put up more of a fight. Spectral Envoy versus Batiri. I really like this match. I thought this match should have main evented the show. But if you look in the back of the DVD, it is the last thing they list in the back, the Spectral Envoy versus Batiri, because this is the second biggest storyline in Chikara right now, probably behind Eddie Kingston, Claudio. But I wanted that to happen. However, after the match, I thought about it a little more, and I was like, you know what, it probably shouldn't have main evented. The main event was fine. It should have been better. But this match was really good. They built the storyline well. Very fun 6-man tag. They led to a future match. Really, really good stuff. I really enjoyed this match. 3.5. Archibald versus Sugar Dunkerton. This is the funniest match I've seen all year. The first 10 minutes of this match was pure freaking comedy. Like, pure comedy. And then they wrestled for 5 minutes, which, in hindsight, maybe not be that great. When Bryan Danielson and Kenny Omega had their ridiculously comedy match, they kept with it. They didn't stop. They said, you know what, we've gone this far. It almost went to a point, I would say, because definitely toward the end of their comedy spots, like, the crowd wasn't into it as much. It almost got to the point where, like, you've done so much comedy, I can't possibly take you seriously for an actual wrestling match. However, I don't think it got to that point necessarily, and I really liked it. So I don't care if they wrestled for 5 minutes. 3-star match. I enjoyed it. Fuck it. Eddie Kingston versus Chuck Taylor. The match of the night. Surprisingly, this was a really damn good match. Almost great. Chuck Taylor, like I said, very, very, very impressive showing. It's great to see him back in singles matches in Chikara. He had a very good weekend. And he and Eddie put on one hell of a match. A lot of great near falls. Really enjoyed this. 3.75. Next, we have Brodie Lee versus Vin Gerard. This was in the 12 Large Summit. I like this match. They've clearly done a lot with Vin Gerard. They've been building him more in the unstable breakup, and now they're building him a little more as a singles. And like I said, I did like this match. It was only 7 minutes, which I guess is my only gripe with it. I think it should have gone a little longer because the Hallowicked Quackenbush match, that match went like 20 minutes, and that match was tremendous. And this match only went 7. It was kind of like, you know, this is the tournament for the world title. And this was the second night. If they had switched the matches, fine. Although I perfectly understand Mike Quackenbush and Hallowicked being the first ever 12th Chikara championship match. However, I still felt that, you know, I felt like they still probably should have given this a little more time. 7 minutes to me just didn't seem fair. This whole show was only on one disc, which means it was less than 2 hours long. Which, again, for the Aniversario show, unacceptable. So yeah, 2.75 though. It was a fine match. I mean, obviously, I understand it costs more to produce a second disc, but on the Saturday show, they put 2 discs. Again, problem. But yeah, that match was whatever. Now we get to my real problem with the show. The Colony versus Amazing Red and the Maximos. This match was really good, but nothing more. It was your standard house show match. You know, it was fun, 3.5. You know, I would say it was the third best match on the show. But the thing is, it only got 11 minutes, and I hate it when Chikara does this. Now, granted, I always say that in time for Chikara doesn't mean anything because you're so invested in the near falls, time doesn't matter. My Quackenbush and Jigsaw versus the BDK from Reality's Relative, I gave that match 4 stars, and it was 9 minutes long because I was really into everything. But for a match like this, like one of your more standard house show main events, it really shouldn't be given only 11 minutes because there's not a great backstory behind it, like Quackenbush and Jigsaw versus the BDK. So you're not as invested into everything as you normally would be. And, you know, I was very disappointed with it. And it doesn't make any sense to me. Chikara has the talent to go 20-minute main events, 15-minute main events, but they don't do it. They only give them 10, 11 minutes. And LV said this, and I 100% agree. They do need to put on better main event matches. When new fans get into this promotion, yes, I will say this, Chikara cannot compete with Ring of Honor when it comes to in-ring quality. That's why they don't try to be in-ring quality. They try to be better at the other areas, like character development and storylines. But you still need to have great wrestling shows, or really good wrestling shows. You can't just have storylines and characters and put on shitty shows and expect people to buy your product. Now, Chikara does not put on shitty shows. They usually put on really good to great shows. But still, fans need a little more. They just need a little more. They need to know they're getting their money's worth. Because when you buy shows just for storyline, I mean, sometimes it feels like I wasted $20 to know a result, as opposed to seeing a great match. You know, I really do feel like they need to put on great main event matches, and they could have. This match only got 11 minutes, it was 3.5. You give it 15 minutes, it would have been a great match. 5 minutes, and this show's 1 hour and 59 minutes long, so you would have had to put on a second disc. Fine. Give Vince Gerard and Brodie Lee 13 minutes. Give Eddie Kingston and Chuck Taylor 17 minutes. Make better use of the time. I was very upset with that. Now, maybe they recognize that Spectral, Envoy, Bodhi, and Batiri, like if you look at it, it's actually, I believe, in order of time. If you look at it, Spectral, Envoy, Batiri, I guess they thought was the main event. But, however, Amazing Red and the Maximos were a draw, so they had to main event the show. And then Eddie Kingston and Chuck Taylor, those top 2 matches got the most amount of time. Now, I don't know if that's any indication. No, it's not, because my Quackenbush Hallowicked is at the bottom of this one. But I was very upset. And also, the show was, this was one of the best undercards I've ever seen from Chikara. I mean, they have a really good match with Kingston and Taylor, a really good match with the Spectral and the Batiri, a really good match with the BDK and 3.0, a good, hilarious match with Peck and Dunkerton, a Jakob Hammermeier match, which is always a win, and a Grizzly Redwood match, which was all right. This was a tremendous, and the Brodie Lee match, which, although the match wasn't that great, it was still a 12 large summit match. It was a big deal. So it was a tremendous undercard. If that main event had been great, I would have given the show an 8.25, 8.5 easy. Great show, but no, it underdelivered. And it still gets a 7.75 because the undercard is really, really good, and the show is really fun, and it's only an hour and 59 minutes. It's easy to sit through. But it just made me upset because I feel the anniversary shows for Chikara should be better. Night 1 was way overachieved for a night 1 taping. Night 2 should have been better. Same problem as last year. Now, granted, this show is much better than last year's show, but still should have been a little better. However, I don't want to sound so negative. Like I said, I'm a Chikara fan. Like I said when I was talking about the best in the world stuff for Ring of Honor, I criticize because I care. I criticize Chikara because I love them, and I want them to get better. And that's something they need to improve on with their main event matches. So Chikara usually watches my videos. They usually put them, one time they put them on their Facebook page, which I thought was a pretty nice compliment. Chikara, if you're watching, I love your promotion. You're my favorite promotion, more than Ring of Honor. My favorite promotion, but you need to put on better main event matches because new fans, like I said, new fans who might not quickly get into the storylines, they want to see more than storyline development and great characters. They want to see great main events. I mean, they want to see great matches, but if your main event is subpar or not the best match in the show, at least kind of a worse taste in your mouth than you normally would have. But still, a very good show, and this was a great show. Overall, a great weekend by Chikara. Both the shows, especially the Friday show, better than I thought they would be, but I still thought the Anniversary show, I just really thought the show should have been great. Also, let me say, I hate the Union Center. I hate that arena. I hate watching shows there. I guess Chikara does it okay, but when CCW went there, I hated it. When Dragon Gate went there, I hated it. I hate that venue so much. When Evolve went there, I didn't like it. I just don't like that arena. I'll quickly talk about Goldust's book because I finished it. It's all right, and I want to talk about it because it's been getting a lot of shit. It's not that bad. Goldust has a really good story with the drugs. I think people's main problem with the book is that it's really short, It's only like 225 pages, but as you can see by the book, it's like the size of my hand almost. And also, if you look at the font, it's very spaced out and it's kind of big. So really, like anybody can read this book very quickly. But Goldust does have a story to tell. He has a good story about his drug problem and his separation from his dad. Like he and Dusty had like a 5-year split. He has a great story. But the problem is he just doesn't tell it the right way. He kind of wanders all over the place with the storylines. Most people buy wrestling books to learn more about the guy's thoughts on angles that were going on at the time. What was the backstage story? What was meant to happen? That's why many people like to buy wrestling books, myself included. And he did it, but he could have done it better. Like, for example, Booker T and Goldust. They were a tag team for, I think, a year and a half. Maybe a year. From summer 2002 to summer 2003. Now, granted, Goldust, they did the angle where Steiner and Orton and Batista electrocuted Goldust, and Goldust was out for a few months. However, they were when he came back, I believe they were still teaming for a little bit. They teamed for a long time, and he explains he and Booker T's team in like half a page, 1 page. Like he completely just narrows it down. Yeah, they put us together. It was a comedy. He explains a comedy skit they did together. Booker T didn't like it at first, and then eventually they broke us up, and I wasn't happy with it. I mean, I was like, that was a year of your career. You really couldn't have gone a little more into detail of that. A little more into detail with the stuff with RVD. A little more detail into this hardcore stuff. There's a lot of stuff that I thought he just kind of glossed over. I mean, he goes over his 96 year pretty well. He talks about his feud with Razor and how Razor didn't like working with him. He goes really in depth to his match with Piper. Like that gets like a whole chapter, I think. And he kind of talks about losing the title to Ahmed Johnson, and he talks about pinning The Undertaker. But he could have done a little better job. I think it was after he and Marlena broke up that he kind of just glosses over the rest of his career. And I thought that was a little unnecessary. The stuff with Ryan Shamrock in 99, him becoming Intercontinental Champion again. Like, I thought he just glossed over a lot of stuff. And I thought had he gone more in depth, in order, the book would have come off a lot better. And the drug stuff, you kind of, like I said, you kind of really don't get it until like towards the near end. But he does have a great joke story, one of the best drug stories actually. Like maybe not as bad as William Regal was, but he still did have a bad drug problem. So yeah, he has a great drug story, and he also has a great story about his dad with his split from Dusty. Cody doesn't come to like the last chapter, and Cody gets like a few pages because when Cody was born, Goldust was only 17, so he didn't really know him that well. But still, it's a good book. Okay, it's an alright book. I didn't hate it. It's very short. You can read this like that. But I just want to talk about it because I know a lot of people have been criticizing it, and I don't think it's that bad. So, yeah. Goldust, Anniversario show, Legendary Superstar show, Anniversario's Amazing Friends. Great show. Really good show. Alright. Big Red 310. And I'm out, guys. See you.